I thought this was America, people.
Charge me, but I'm not guilty.
Federal court of racketeering, sexual exploitation of a child, and kidnapping back in September. Now, at the time, the prosecution said the verdict was only possible because of the courage of the victims. Now, Kelly's new lawyer filed the notice of motion for a new trial, claiming Kelly was denied effective assistance of counsel during jury selection and alleges that Kelly's former counsel was engaged in a conflict of interest involving one of the prosecution witnesses, known as Jane. Now, in a subsequent hearing, the court concluded that the lawyer had an attorney-client relationship with Jane while representing Kelly. Kelly had earlier waived the conflict of interest, although the motion alleges this was an unwaivable conflict. Bonjean also argued for a judgment of acquittal, claiming that the government failed to prove the racketeering charge, as well as the other 8 counts in the indictment.
Now, when I first started blogging, I continuously made it known that I felt people should continuously stay in tune with what the news reported, what the mainstream media reported, and compare the old articles that were coming out. Instead, a lot of people wanted to focus on everything except including trying to do these attorneys' jobs for them. Get mad, then come to the internet when shit goes left. But at the end of the day, as I continuously maintain from the beginning, I believe a lot of things was going to be exposed throughout this proceeding, and a lot of people just didn't like the length and the time it took. However, people fail to realize that in the criminal justice system, people don't like to admit when they're wrong, so they're willing to fabricate this whole case right in our face, as we saw, than to admit they messed up. Just like some of these people who claim to support RKelly, who want to keep your attention on certain topics and bypass all the other strange things we saw playing out on these social media platforms linked to certain individuals. When I clearly told you, why not report fraud instead of bringing drama to YouTube? Why not let authorities handle complaints instead of bringing it to YouTube? Why link up with sketchy individuals and get mad because people don't want to fool with you and allow people to harass and bully individuals on these platforms who have nothing to do with all this shady ass behavior you see playing out in your face, including writing the judges, intimidating these witnesses, linking up with the attorneys, putting together this docuseries to again give credit to certain individuals, trying to discredit the next, and bypass the pure corruption we've seen this whole time. Now, maybe people on the slow side forgot when I said a long time ago, if these were my attorneys, I would have let them go a long time ago. However, I don't know this man's financial situations or the reasons he acted the way he did. Yet clearly some of these agitators haven't understood the concept of blogging, and that does not include going to your social media, including yourself in a federal case, taunting this person that you claim to support's defense team, doing the most trying to dictate their movements, and then implicating them in alleged crime and misconduct. But hey, some people rather follow scammers around YouTube than do a little reading, as I suggested from day one. And some felt like just because I wasn't going to play the role of somebody's teacher and get online reading these indictments to them, that my content doesn't reflect the allegations being waged against RKelly, the things certain people are putting on these platforms, and the interference we see playing out. So with all that being said, who knows how this would have went if people had just blogged about the specific topic and stayed out of the way. But at the end of the day, I also told you I believe all of this was intentional. So instead of coming out here accusing these attorneys of being fraudulent and being involved in criminal activities, I watched and showed you what I saw. Meanwhile, the slow people who were doing the most wanted to turn you against what I was showing you because they clearly knew What I've told you many times before, a lot of these people ran a lot of these narratives you heard through me. When I don't agree with it, when I don't jump on it, or when I go in opposition to it, you see how they come for me. But at the end of the day, women lie, men lie, facts don't. And all this shit they did can be pulled up by those who you demand to do their job. It's not my job to do the federal investigators' work. And it's definitely not my job to go along with any bullshit ass narratives when I clearly created my platform to debunk bullshit, not allow people to try to intimidate me and control what I show you. Now, considering all this information I put out here, I can't even continue to take some of these dumbasses serious talking about people set this man up who didn't meet him allegedly to 2019 when I've clearly showed you the plan that started in 2015. And some of these fans think I'm going to go back and forth with the dumb people they follow because they say I support RKelly 1 minute, fuck them the next, and then turn around and keep your attention away from all these key players who led to what we see playing out, instead of trying to throw your attention to who the fuck they don't like, which I don't give a fuck about. Now, if you want to obsess about the things other people put on their platform, that's your prerogative. But keep in mind, I don't control what other people say. I'm not responsible for what other people do. I only am liable for what comes out of my mouth and the things that I present to you. What they do is what they do, and I show you why I don't fuck with none of them. Now, with that said, I'm not here to discuss who knows Robert Kelly, when they met him, who's related to him, or any of that bullshit them other fools like to talk about. I'm here because I created my platform once I realized an injustice was occurring, and I didn't see nothing but negative shit being spurred out. And it's a damn shame when you sit here and watch the same negativity coming from so-called supporters and think that I'm finna entertain the bullshit. No. It doesn't take a genius to see why these rumors and allegations become public. We all know the media has a problem recanting their false stories, so it's our responsibility to hold everyone accountable.
Yo, Kelly, with you? What?
ACT, did you see this?
Look, if it ain't official Dana J, Levi for Kelly, Primadonnanews, I don't even want to see it. Just take the time. Look, you got some weed? Dang. You gotta get some. All right, hurry up. These and them here, everybody here, we waiting on you. All right.
I woke up like this. I woke up like this. We flawless.
So I do believe that, because initially I was talking to Angelo Caleri and I was talking to Tim Savage in the very beginning, because one of the things that that I felt was important to do was get everybody at the table so we can mediate this thing. Let's sit down, let's work this thing out so we can get the girls back home, at least get the families involved in their lives in some capacity. And we were planning on doing it around the holidays, and it just always turned into a fucking production. There had to be some music being made, an album going to be put out, and I'm like, listen, fuck all that. Let's just get everybody back together, get it. Then we can work on that shit, And the only person that seemed to have any kind of conversation, decent conversation with initially, was Angelo Clary. Now, most of it was probably him probing the shit out of me, but I was doing the same thing to him. So, for the most part, it seemed like it could be handled amicably.
I don't know what's up with Don. I'm gonna call Don, yo. I got Don personal number. I'm gonna call him. We got the bus. Yeah, we on the bus. We got here back here.
Look back. DJ, get this. We looking for history. We got no. Look how eyes we are.